How to install Emby Media Server on Proxmox. So, like a week or two ago, I mentioned Emby Media Server on one of my shorts, and I figured it was time I taught you how to install Emby, or at least how I deploy Emby in my home lab. But before we get started, what is Emby? Have you heard of Netflix? Do you want Netflix for free, but you have to run your own servers and source your own media? Hey, you're my kind of people. In this video, I'll teach you how to spin up Emby Media Server on Linux using Debian as your OS and Proxmox as your hypervisor. So the first thing you'll want to do is hop into your Proxmox environment. I'm already logged in. Then you'll want to right click on one of your nodes and create a VM. Make sure whatever node you choose has a lot of CPU compute in order to do video encode and decode to stream it to your devices. So we'll call this Debian Emby. We'll choose local for our storage and we'll choose Debian net install. We'll make this a QEMU guest agent. Put this on SSD storage. And we'll give this 128 gigabytes. And we're not giving this a lot of storage because this server's media content is held on a NAS I have in my network. So there is no need to give this media server. So there's no need to give this more than the minimal amount of storage. Now that we then do write through for our cache so that we have cache defined. We hit next. We give this the cores we need. We make sure the CPU type is host so we can get the most performance out of this. We're going to give this 8 gigs of RAM because it's only going to be running Emby. Assign this our standard virtual bridge and then create. After that, we start our virtual machine. And you can just go with the graphical install for this. Go ahead and hit continue, continue, American English, hit continue, unless you need to change your language. And then we wait for it to detect its hardware and start the install process. When it comes to host name, we'll call this Debian Emby. Test.local is our domain name. We'll enter our password and hit continue. And for our user, we'll just call it admin for this video. Okay, well, let's use that. Go ahead and set your root password. For our user, we'll call this Emby admin. Emby admin. Set the password for your new account. Choose your time zone. Walk through the guided disk install to use your entire disk. Hit yes to write changes. And then you let the install finish. After that, it's going to ask you to scan extra installation media. Go ahead and click no and let it configure apt. Choose your country, choose your repo, continue. Oh, the second to last step is when it comes to this screen, we're not going to need a desktop environment. We will need SSH server. And go ahead and click continue and let that install finish up. You then go ahead and install grub, choose your disk, and you let the install finish. Okay, so go ahead and log in. Now that your host is spun up, there's one more thing you have to do, and that is to make SSH accessible. Before we proceed with the Emby server install, first we have to get the package. If you search for Emby server Debian and click the first result, you'll be taken to the Emby server for Linux page. Go ahead and select Debian from the list and right click on this link and copy the link address. Then go to a terminal and SSH into your Emby server. I've already done that. Once you've SSH, you'll want to do apt-get-y update and apt-get-y disk upgrade. And what that'll do is update and upgrade your Linux server. Now that that's done, we'll want to get wget. So do apt-get install-y wget. And it looks like that was already installed. And what we want to do is wget, then paste the name of the package we just downloaded. Then we do a clear and we list. From there, we can do a dpackage -i /emby server and give it a few minutes and it'll install Emby server for us. After that, we'll enable Emby server by doing a systemctl enable Emby server. Then we'll do a systemctl status Emby server, and you'll see Emby server is now live. Now let's get the IP address of this server. It is at 1179. Let's go back to our browser. Now, if we were to go to 192.168.1.179, if we were to then go to our server IP .8096, and this is what your freshly spun up Emby server will look like. We'll go ahead and we'll choose our language, which is English, United States. Give it a username. We'll call this Emby. Password is whatever password you want to enter. And there we go. We'll skip setting up our libraries for now because we have to set up our file storage mounts. And you can enable remote access, accept the terms of use, and click finish. And there we go. After that, you just log back into the Emby interface. And the Emby server portion of this install is done. But wait, there's more. The next step is to get either NFS mount or Samba mounts configured. I keep my media server shared out using a SMB share so my Windows guests can access it easier. So we are going to have to get CIFS installed. I keep my media stored on an SMB share, so we're going to have to get the CIFS utils installed. Let's walk through that real quick. We clear screen, we do an apt-get install, CIFS utils. We'll let that run and install. Then we clear our screen again. Then we have to make a mount directory. So we'll do a make-dir mount media share. Then we create a temporary mount. We can do that with a mount.t cifs. Then we test our mount with a mount-t cifs 192.168.1.11/video store/media store. And then we point it to our mount point, which is media share. Then we can enter our username, password equals our password. And then we pass our version. Then we do a mount-t to list our mounts. Then we can do a df-h to list our mounts, and you'll see we now have our mount listed under media store. And if we were to list /mount media share, you'll see we actually have a bunch of different folders there. So we know our mount works. We know that it's listing our files and shares. The next step is to configure this mount so that it auto mounts on a reboot. So if we were to do a nano etc smb creds, and we were to enter our username, and then we enter our username, our password, and then we enter our password, and then we save that. Then we got to change permissions on that, so it's read only. We set that to smb creds. Then we have to change permissions on that file we just created so that it's read only. So do a change mod 600 smb creds. After that, we edit our fs tab. So if we were to do nano etc fs tab, and we'll just add our server IP and add our share path, which is video store, media store. And then we point it to our local location, which is media share, cifs. And then we point it to our credentials. Then we set the file type and version. Then you enter the CIFS version, which is 3.0, no fail, 0. What that basically does is use it use the FS tab to auto mount our CIFS share. Make sure you go through this and you double check spelling, because errors inside of this might cause your machine to not boot. So you do another df-ht. We can verify everything's working by doing a mount-a. And if it throws no errors, your mount was successful. And you can do another df-h to verify that. So now that we have our mount mounted and properly set to auto mount on a reboot, we go back to our Emby server. Now that we're in Emby, we'll then go through adding our first media library. Click the gear icon for settings, scroll down to library, new library, We're going to add a movie library for this example. We're going to scroll down to Mount / Media Share, select Movies, hit OK. Set the metadata language to your language. You can leave certificate country blank. Set the preferred image download. After you choose your preferred language, you can just scroll down, choose where you want to get the metadata. I like to include the movie database. Hit OK. We'll just let this run for a few seconds. And if you click the Emby icon and you go back to Emby and you were to go to movies, you'll see it start populating with movies already. All right, look, it's going pretty quick, probably because I already have another server running and this was just a quick example. So a lot of the metadata is already in the folders. But that is how you set up Emby, how you mount your FS tab using SMB, and how you also set it to auto mount. As always, thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. If you'd like to see more of this content, please go ahead and subscribe either here or on my TikTok channel. Otherwise, it was nice talking to you boys. See you next video. We're going to start covering more home lab stuff, more cool services. Yeah, just different stuff.